Greetings and salutations from Southern California. Welcome to today's edition of Total Health Live. You on Instagram, I see you also on Instagram Live. By the way, those of you on Instagram Live, I'm only going to be on here for a short period of time, so head on over to YouTube or to Facebook to catch this live broadcast. Welcome to De-Stress for Success. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Christopher Vogelmann of @Dr. Vogelmann, wherever you consume social media. And with me, as always, is the lovely, the talented, the nutritionist of the stars, Monika Klein.
Hi, everyone. Is that our new title, De-Stress for Success?
Well, that's just for today's. Today's was just, I took a question from one of our viewers, and it said, what type of meditation should I try?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good questione.
One of many questions that people have. So, yeah, remember, Instagram, come over here. Okay.
Come on down.
Come on down. So, it is toasty here in Coronado Island. It is now 89 degrees on November 12th, which is something I'm not used to.
It is, yeah, you're totally not. It's 90 here, so.
It is toasty. I expect the snow to fly or something, or the frost on the pumpkins. You can't even find the pumpkin. I think they're shriveled away.
Yeah, well, I left that kind of scenario years and years ago with the snow and the rain.
I have fond memories of adapting to snow and other.
Although I don't think my hometown has snow yet, so but it's coming. It's coming.
That's coming. Your hometown of Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, and then I lived many, many years in Vancouver, and that was very rainy and dark.
So, which did you prefer, Winnipeg or Vancouver?
I like sunshine. That's why I'm in California, Southern California. I do like sunshine, but I miss my family, and most of them. They're not all in Vancouver, but most of them are. So good news. We did find the questions from last week's episode, and they were sent to another doctor, not Dr. Vogelmann.
Oh, the wrong doctor?
The wrong doctor. It happened to be my brother. So
oh my God. Did he provide answers to those questions? That's what I want to know.
He might have in his own fashion, but yeah. So I found them. I knew they would be lost in some metaverse.
Hallelujah. Well, no, this is the metaverse. Those of you who are on Facebook and Instagram Live. This is part of the metaverse. Meta.
Yeah. And this is really happening. It's not just augmented reality. It's real.
I feel augmented in my reality on a daily basis. So let me see. Oh no, I do have those questions and things. So we're going to talk a little bit about you. You like to quote the New England Journal of Medicine. Oh, Instagram, I'm leaving you now. So please tune in to Total Health Live, wherever else you consume our social media, particularly YouTube and Facebook. Always remember, whether you're on Instagram or if you are on the Book of Faces or YouTube, you please use the hashtag replay, because we know that the vast majority of you watch this on replay, and it helps to alert us as to whether or not you like what the hell we're doing. So, all right, here we go.
Here we go.
Bye, Instagram.
Bye. We'll miss you.
I'll see you later. All right. Somebody's pinging me here. I don't think we're ready for pinging right now. Oh, she's one of my patients from Maryland. It's not a good time. Eric, go away.
Not time for a
It's not time for a chiropractic adjustment.
Virtual chiropractic adjustment.
Well, people can sometimes do those things. It's more like
I know. I have a very dear friend who does it. Yeah, it's
mostly auto suggestion, but it does work, because it's just like the power of prayer or anything else like that. If you focus,
actually does adjustments on the entire spine using applied kinesiology as a form of. So it's quite interesting.
Hold.
Yeah. This kind of thing.
Yes. What's yes? What's no?
Yes.
No. Yes. No. Go. Stop. Go. Green light. Red light.
It's not easy. It's kind of like, anyway.
No, I'm not going to do the green light, red light references for those of you who watch Squid Games, which we found horrifying and fascinating at the same time.
So back to
COVID. Another crisis.
The COVID crisis. Yes. Well, hopefully it's going to be an post-crisis soon.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a winter spike, but not as bad as last winter. So.
Well, unfortunately, I just read an announcement at my mother's long-term care facility
Uh-huh.
that they're shutting down again, unfortunately, because many cases were, it was actually in the local paper. So it's significant enough, but feel so bad for my mother and, you know, and everyone that lives there and everyone that wants to visit. My nephew just came to visit, so hopefully he can see her while he's in town.
My dad used to say that the first 100 years are the hardest. It gets easier after that.
Well, she's in that second part of
She's in the easy. She's in the easy part now.
Easy Street. Yeah, she's Easy Street, right? 100, almost 101 and 6 months. 106 months, yeah.
Great for an age, not so good for a body temperature.
No, not at all.
Good to boil water in centigrade, though.
So interesting. I don't know what's happening in your news, in your local neighborhood with regards to COVID, but I had an interesting observation. I went to the bank last Saturday, and in the lineup there were 2 people that weren't wearing masks. And then I tried to look for, somebody who worked there to say, what's going on? What is this? What is it? If I have to wear one, you have to wear one.
Has the LA County mandate been rescinded or
no? No. I have been to other places since then, and masks abound, but not in this bank, which is a small space, relatively small.
You would think that a bank where people often will rob these institutions with masks on, people would want to have masks on.
Well, you think, maybe that's giving them ideas. I'm sure if they haven't thought of that already.
Okay.
If they haven't thought of that already, but yeah, I just thought, and so I left the bank. I left the scene of the potential crime.
The potential crime. Well, have you been grocery shopping too, or just banking?
No, I've done many things, gone to many indoor locations, and that was the only place that I saw. Actually, I went into a department store a couple of weeks ago, and I saw someone in the lineup, so without a mask, and I felt like telling her as well. And then I thought, well, be careful who you talk to, because they may not really like you pointing it out. So things.
That's why I always carry a gun. No, just kidding. Totally kidding.
Like a plastic one with water in it?
Well, actually, yeah. Well, it's a long story. It's a long story of my relationship between pacifism and firearms, so it's for another time.
Okay. Let's not cover this health show.
Let's not do that. Although,
anyway, that's what I've observed, and it makes me kind of peeved, actually, because again, I don't want to be wearing one, but I am, and I do, just to comply and to.
That's up to the management there to enforce it, really. I
mean, it is. And
did you say anything, or did you just stand by?
I couldn't find anyone to say it to. All of the tellers and management were busy with other people, and I thought, I've got other things to do. I'm leaving.
So you didn't even make a transaction at the bank?
No, I didn't. I went back another day to another bank, and but I was tempted to call the 800. But you know what? It's like I have so much on my plate that was not that important in that moment.
I see.
I mean, it was important in that moment, but beyond that moment, I had other things to do, like celebrate my 23rd wedding anniversary with my husband.
Congratulations. 23.
Yes, 23.
I was going to say, and they said it would never last, but that's not true.
Who said that?
No, I'm just totally kidding. 23. It's not 23 and me.
23 and I.
23 and thee.
Yeah, and thee and thou and us.
Thee and thou and dust. So speaking of dust and things like that, I have noticed a lot of particulate dust in the air around here in Coronado. But one of the things that does fascinate me is this past week. We got a lot of soot actually that comes out of the Naval Air Station, because I was just looking at the windowsill today, because I keep the window open periodically, and there's just soot all over the base of the window. And that's coming in the lungs, which is why we have air filters in the house, because we prefer not to use the air conditioning.
Yeah,
But
and also we've got the Santa Anas. Do they come down your way? I can't remember. But
oh, of course they do. That's why it's 89 degrees and breezy.
They come all over the place down here in Southern California, but that's probably too because of the winds.
Yeah, this is soot. This is like black. It looks like the particulate matter from a diesel truck, but we know
not
that there's
not good. Stay indoors.
I try to whenever I can. Although today I've got windows open because we have no air conditioning.
You know, that's unfortunate because you live right on the ocean and usually it sweeps out.
I've got windows open, but we're not getting a sea breeze, so that's a problem. It's coming, I guess, from the other direction, coming from the east. So one of the things that happened this week in terms of COVID news is here at Coronado High School, the high school basketball practices were canceled because of somebody testing positive for COVID on the team. It was probably a coach, actually, but we don't know for sure yet. But the school did release things saying, hey, this is what happened. Somebody tested positive. Your kids need to be tested. And sure enough, come Monday morning, every kid who was there at basketball practice was tested. And fortunately, all the players tested negative, which leads me to conclude it was a coach or assistant coach or manager or something like that.
So again, the question I beg to ask is, so they tested positive. Any symptoms?
No, one person. We don't know because of HIPAA. Are you going to? It's just the way it is because there's of the.
But they won't reveal the name. But they're
not going to name names.
That kind of information. They're
not going to name names and put a big C on their chest.
Well, that's a very interesting thing. That's a very interesting thing because that was the whole idea that it would not absolve us of contracting COVID, but it would lessen the symptoms. And yet those things aren't included in the reports, are they?
I don't know what you're talking about at this point, other than this was somebody tested positive, but not everybody had been vaccinated from what I know. And we don't even know if that individual who tested positive was vaccinated. And it probably doesn't make a difference if they were vaccinated or not, because they could still be a carrier.
This is the problem. There is multiple problems with this whole picture.
But that individual, from what I understand, has to do either 10 days or 14 days away from everybody. So.
Yeah.
Right. So isolation is
part there won't be any outbreak.
Hopefully not.
Touching.
Not like last time.
No.
So anyway, that's the story here. I do notice that I went to a store the other day without a mask. Because I forgot.
You're one of those.
I forgot it. And under normal circumstances, I'm always there. So I had a choice. Do I either go in and get food, or do I go all the way back home again, drive 20 minutes and come back again? So I can't maintain a great deal of social distance. I did sneeze a couple of times, but
were you the only one in there without a mask?
No, there were a lot of people without.
You were the one I was just describing in the bank.
I normally go in with a mask, but if you don't have one, and the store does not have one for sale, do you not go into the store? And all I had to do was pick up 3 items. And I do not believe that A, I caught COVID, or B, that I spread COVID.
Believe is the interesting word, but the thing is...
All right. This is like counterpoint. All I can tell you is I was cautious. I socially distanced. And next time, if you want me to video myself and I'm missing a mask, I'll do it.
I still have masks everywhere. And I have 3 on my dashboard, 2 in my purse. However, I walk in the neighborhood and I misplaced my one in my vest pocket. So
God forbid, woman. What were you thinking?
But I was the only one. When someone was approaching, I would walk on the street, and I was the only one who was walking on the street. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know what the rules are anymore.
I don't think that you should advertise that you were a streetwalker. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the news, the COVID news in our neighborhoods. Dun, 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 dun. I think we're ready for Q&A. Don't you think so, Christopher?
There's somebody from Oxnard who wants to ask a question.
Okay. Who's Oxnard? Who's the
Paula.
Oxnard?
Paula from Oxnard.
Paula.
Since she says I recently suffering from skin rashes, primarily on my face, but also some appearing on my arms and hands. And it's causing me some concern. I don't want to be put on any medication. Is there something that you could suggest?
Well, it's always a good idea to find out what the skin rash is caused from. Is it a dermatitis? Is it hives? Is it, some sort of allergic response, which would be a possibly dermatitis, allergic dermatitis. But you want to find out what it is. If you're not able to ascertain that, you might want to have, especially if it doesn't go away, you might want to have your doctor check you out and see what's going on. And but there's a lot of topicals, non-medication topicals that you could put. Calendula is a wonderful topical ointment you can find. You can do aloe.
Aloe?
If it's itchy, you might try calamine lotion. There's other lotions you can find in health food stores. One's called Sting Stop. I believe that's from B&T, Borica, and Tuffle. I think so. And I think Boron also has a homeopathic anti-itch cream as well. So there's a lot of different things you can, and Google some non-medication types of topical, because it's most likely you can put something topical on that. So oh, I'm doubling up here. And then
you doubled up for just a brief moment there.
Also, there are things, is it an immune response to something? And if so, you want to build up your immune system as well. So there's things like different things you can, and Google.
Apparently there are a lot of different things.
You are punctuating the importance of what I'm saying right now.
Oh
yes.
my.
So, yeah, I mean, things like quercetin and bromelain, those are really helpful for skin issues.
Also, do you also eliminating those things that might have additives and perfumes and things like that? Because I do know that certain things with perfumes can really irritate the skin.
Yeah, so it could be something cosmetic that you're applying, some skin creams or something like that, or even sometimes what you're eating, it might show up. Also, one other thing is stress. How is stress affecting you? I remember a couple of years ago, I was under an extreme amount of stress, and I woke up one day and my whole face, this is not a rash, but my whole face was just puffy, like just, you couldn't even recognize me, and it was shocking. But it was a cream that I had been trying out, a face cream, and certainly I stopped using that face cream. So if you're trying something new and you've got a reaction, that may be the culprit, whether it's food or some sort of cosmetic or soap or anything that you're putting on your skin.
Laundry detergent, by the way.
Laundry detergent.
Dryer sheets. Dryer sheets are a big one that can irritate.
Yeah. And I make a big point of this. Sometimes we have these seat cushions for my husband's wheelchair, and or things like medical kinds of, he has something called a Hoyer lift that has a thing, what's it called? A hammock kind of thing. And I don't like to wash those things with his clothes, because a lot of those have sometimes fiberglass synthetic threads. So I try to wash those things separately from, bedding and clothing, because if it's touching your skin directly, it might be a problem. So I hope that answers your question, Paula from Oxnard.
Paula. Oxnard is in California, by the way. What is this? Well, so I see, Lawrence, you're from Springfield, but it says Springfield, Mississippi. Something I don't think, I'm not there. Is there one?
I think it's for Springfield, Missouri, isn't it?
Oh, it says MS. So, okay.
Oh, I have MO on mine.
I've got MIS. I took, so you sent me 2 copies, and I took the first one.
Yeah, no, take the second one, because there are 6 M's.
Oh, I can't take the second one now, because I already copied it and put it into a Google document, which is easier for me to read with or without glasses.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, we have 6 questions. So if
Springfield, Missouri. What, you mean we have to get through these all these questions?
We'll try and do the best we can.
All right, Lawrence. I have an undiagnosed balance issue and was wondering if you could help. I often lose my balance when I'm walking or when I stand up suddenly. Any ideas? My doctor thinks it's my blood pressure that runs a little high. Could that be all it is?
It could be. It could be that.
Could
Wondering
be
if
a
you're
lot of things.
if you're
I'm not
medicated.
going to say it's like Arnold in Kindergarten Cop. It's not a tumor. Hopefully that's not the case because
Well,
that
hopefully not.
yeah.
It could
Well, I
be.
mean, but I would say blood pressure runs a little high. It could be just the opposite, which is that you're actually experiencing hypotension or postural hypotension, where you stand up suddenly and the blood drains out of your upper extremities and out of your head too quickly. So you'd be surprised that actually low blood pressure can cause this. So you need to get a thorough checkup to figure this all out.
Yeah.
We do not diagnose over the Zoom or over the
We
stream.
do not. We do not. But yeah. And if you were hypertensive, if you had high blood pressure and now you're on medication, maybe the medication's too strong and you're getting into this hypo state.
Could be.
So that could be that. You could have some ataxia going on for some reason. Meniere's is also a diagnosis that causes vertigo. I
So
don't think
what are you getting? Ataxia or an Uber?
both, because if you have balance issues, you can't
You
walk.
better not drive. Exactly.
Better not drive. Well, you better not walk very much. But
You better
yeah,
not
so
drive.
I mean, it could be a lot of things. But it said you had difficulty. It's undiagnosed this far. So
Well, undiagnosed, you better get yourself a diagnosis.
sometimes it's the cerebellum, which rules balance.
Inner ear infection.
Inner ear infection. So yeah, I would definitely continue trying to rule this out with your physicians, whether it's an ENT or even a neurologist or someone, or,
Yeah, but for God's sakes, complain about it and let them know you're having these symptoms. Because a lot of times people say, "Oh, it's nothing, and they never even mention it in the medical history. And then a year or two later, it's like, "Oh yeah, well I used to have this problem here, blah 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 blah." It's like,
Yeah.
why didn't you tell me? Oh, I didn't think it was important. So
Yeah.
they're not
So
important.
if you did have high blood pressure and you're being treated and it's still not fixing it, dig deeper. You have to keep digging. You have to be like your own advocate and your own researcher, along with, trained medical professionals too. So,
Can you dig,
yeah,
can you dig it? Can you dig it?
and certainly there are things that help with blood pressure, like magnesium can help with that, and potassium. But if you're on medication, blood pressure medication, you don't want to take potassium supplements. Hawthorn is also beneficial. So, Hawthorn is a supplement as well. So if you are taking blood pressure medication, you can't take all the supplements that are normally recommended to aid in hypertension. So you want to make sure you're not contraindicated there.
Be cautious, like Paula.
Yeah, like Paula.
Be cautious, Lawrence. Yeah, but get it checked out as soon as possible. Don't wait around expecting it, thinking. We used to say that the three most
Wait and see.
five most dangerous words are maybe it will go away.
Yeah, my brother, who's a retired dentist, he said, you only brush the teeth you want to keep, for one, or you floss the ones you want to keep. But also, when it comes to teeth, very much that it's not going to go away. It's going to get worse if you don't take care of it.
And speaking of things that may get worse if you don't take care of it, Wanda from Chicago asks, I'd really like to start meditating. So we're going from medicating to meditating. I think it would help me relax. I'm not sure where to begin. Is there a type you recommend? Which was why I titled this episode, Is There a Type of Meditation that would be right for me?
Well, I think a lot of people make a big deal out of meditation in the sense that, oh, I have to find the right kind, or I can't really meditate. I've tried it a couple of times. I can't sit still. There's always these obstacles to trying to do this wonderful thing for yourself. But don't overcomplicate it. It's not that difficult. It can be any way you want it to be. It can be just slowing down, closing your eyes, doing some deep breaths, and everyone thinks, oh, I can't sit there so long. And I'm thinking all the time and my brain is, so active. Well, the more you do it, the more you'll accept that that's part of the process of meditation. You can't just shut off thoughts. For the most part, you can't just shut off thoughts. I've been meditating since 85. And sometimes my meditation sessions are one way, sometimes they're another way. Sometimes it's just a matter of clearing my head. And sometimes I go into a very deep kind of place, and it's very rejuvenating and replenishing. So, look at different options. Don't look at one type of meditation and say, I have to try it. And I've tried it and it doesn't work. There's so many different kinds of meditation techniques.
Well, and I think even a guided meditation tape is very good. There's some good things. Even Esther Hicks has some stuff through Abraham and that sort of thing. I will say, though, it's very interesting because during the pandemic, this has kind of popped up, which is that the stress levels that people have been experiencing have resulted in, it's a very interesting report, Stress in America, and it talks about how the average person has average male gained something like 29 pounds during the pandemic, which is just crazy to me. I think there are some phenomenal things, and the amount of alcohol consumption has been a dramatic increase.
Now, is this a recent update? Because we were talking about this last April, and that's when we created the new normal diet, and we were sort of focusing on those two aspects, but specifically the dietary aspects.
The surveys, this is from March of this year.
Okay.
And so this is 1 year later after all this.
2020, right? March 2020.
No, this is 2021.
Oh, I thought I saw 2020.
No, this is not 2020.
Yeah, it says right there on March 2020.
On March 20. That was the global pandemic. Reading is fundamental. There we go. So at this point, we're over 750,000 U.S. residents. But this is the thing that got me right here. If we gain more weight than intended of the group adults reported an average gain of 29 pounds with a typical gain of 15, which is in the median. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should bring the new normal diet back again and call it something else, because we're here for you to help you with this, because I know you're not feeling comfortable. And I've had clients come back this year after, having the same situation, gaining weight last year and saying, help. And a lot of people are sedentary now. They're sedentary. They're working at home. They're like glued to their computer, and so.
But they've also neglected their own health. So nearly half of Americans say they delayed or canceled healthcare services. I've actually seen commercials here in San Diego talking about the hospitals when the numbers were down in terms of ICU beds occupied by COVID patients, saying, well, now's the time to get your heart checked out. Now's the time to get that cancer screening. Now's the time to do this, because there's a recognition within the medical professions that people have put off even the basic wellness types of things, because they're afraid to go out.
I know that has happened. It's sort of like a roller coaster, because, yes, you can do it. The numbers are down. So everyone starts booking, and then the numbers go up again. So they stop booking, they're canceling. So it's an epidemic of,
neglect.
Cancellations. It's an epidemic of making appointments, then having to cancel. So I think it's sort of a roller coaster situation for medical, and also I think there's a depressive aspect too.
Here's the mental health. The Gen Z adults, almost half of them, we're the most likely generation to say their mental health has worsened compared to before the pandemic, followed by the Gen Xers at 33%, millennials 31%, 28% for boomers, and older adults 9%. I guess those are above 100.
Well, they've cut off their entire social world, and a lot of us who have gone beyond those years have had that. We've had that fulfilled. We've been able to go to school. We've been able to have a normal life, and they haven't. It's been truncated.
Well, they also, if you think about the younger generations, have been more social media oriented to begin with, and probably the disconnection is amplified. Yeah, because you're not getting any social interaction.
Yeah.
So
so it's
That's a
Now
big
that, and
deal.
also the employment situation. I mean, even though there's a shortage, there's a lot of people that are still not getting work. We forget
Well,
about that
it
piece.
depends on the type of work too, because I know that there's a lot of people. Uh, who is it? Padma. What's her name? Last name? But she's often on Top Chef and other things like that. She's one of the
The hosts,
One of the Indian
yeah,
American
yes,
hosts. Yeah,
yes.
she had a great interview with gosh, who was it? It was Roy
Pashmina,
Woods.
isn't it Pashmina or
Pashmina. Yeah. No, not Pashmina. Padme. Padme.
Padme?
And so
Padme, forgive us.
Roy, was it Roy Wood Jr. So from the Daily Show interviewed her in a wonderful podcast interview, and she was talking about how a lot of the people who are in restaurants, they were previously borrowing money to stay open, doing anything they could, but also that there's a huge uptick in people being incredibly rude to servers, that people are very hostile in restaurants. And there have been a lot of problems keeping wait staff on because people aren't as nice as they used to be. They're short tempered and other things like that. So there actually has been, just as you would see on the airlines, an increase in rather belligerent behavior. The same thing she said has been told to her by numerous wait staff as well as restaurant owners, that they're having problems keeping staff because unfortunately the public is not very patient, and sometimes they're just kind of PO'd at the world.
Yeah, and this brings me to also the fact that I've just lost my train of thought. Excuse me.
Was it Amtrak or was it a cargo? It was a cargo train.
No, in the airlines, it's mostly the mask wearing is the big
Yeah.
issue, and the more drinking. So they're actually going to stop drinking, like no drinking on flights. So that's been in the works.
There are going to be some baby bottles and adult sippy cups smuggled on board, probably.
I suppose smoothies
the duty free store. Suddenly there's something. Well, where do those tiny bottles of liquor go?
Smoothies with extra boost,
with an extra special ingredient. But this brought me back to Wanda, because we're talking about relaxing and the idea that there's so much stress associated with this whole pandemic, everything that you're talking about, from the mask wearing to airline stuff to wait staff to unemployment to all these things. And finding something that works specifically for you is the best thing in the world. And it doesn't have to be meditation. Maybe it's just a walk in nature by a lake, or I go out to the ocean, to the beach periodically, several times a week, just because the sea air is wonderful. Just walking around, the birds and everything, as long as they're not fighter jets landing on the airstrip, it's very peaceful. And
being in nature is wonderful. I mean, doing a walk in nature, it's meditative in and of itself, and it's just a good thing. So it doesn't have to be lying down with your eyes closed and focusing on a mantra.
And here's something that I have found is true over the years, and was true for my dad, and I realized that he did this, which was, if I'm washing pots, scrubbing pots and things like that, that it in and of itself can turn into a meditative state, depending on how you focus your thoughts.
Get your husbands and kids to do the dishes, because it's meditative. And I make this porridge, this wonderful rice flake porridge. And it takes about 10, 15 minutes for preparation and cooking. And just the stirring and the preparation it's just cooking. The act of cooking can be meditative as well. It's just, it slows you down. It slows you down. I know what I was going to say when you were talking about the restaurants and the belligerence and all that. I know a lot of companies now are resisting resisting having to be the police with regards to asking for vaccination cards, because they're talking about stricter mandates where people can't go into a lot of different venues, a lot of different malls for one, without showing their vaccine cards. And businesses are resisting, or a lot of businesses are resisting that, because they don't want to be the police. They don't want to police because it's dangerous for one. And, it may be their citizen responsibility, but is it really their personal?
So what would be your solution?
I don't know at this point, but
I think what we're dealing with to a great extent is the actual value system of the average person in this country and throughout North America. It's very interesting to see the difference in Mexico, for example, versus here in San Diego, because we cross the border once every 2 or 3 weeks or so. And there's a lot more respect for taking care of other people. No, taking care of others, doing things. There's greater kindness, in my opinion, because I've seen it happen over and over again. I've seen greater kindness in Mexico than I have in the United States with respect to the pandemic, mask wearing, vaccinations, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it's how this country was built. I mean, I'm a Canadian, but I've lived here for a long time, and this country is one for all, and versus a sort of a, take care of the community, take care of everybody, not just yourself. So it is a philosophical difference and a value.
It's the loss of e pluribus unum, which is out of many one. It's just e pluribus.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
So, I mean, we have to care about our mankind, our fellow.
I would say put the kind back into mankind or humankind.
Or womankind or humankind. Here. I hope that helps you with your meditation journey, because
just focus on the good stuff too. I think that's one of the things. I notice also, if you focus, for example, on you're awake in the middle of the night and you're like, I can't sleep. Wow, surprise, you're awake for another 2 or 3 hours because you've been repeating to yourself you can't sleep, and you're getting worried that you're not going to have enough energy to accomplish your tasks the next day, that you'll be groggy, that you won't be at your best. And so all of those negative emotions feed on each other. And that's why, even something like the little Calm app that you can put on your Android or iPhone or so and play that thing. I mean, something like that could have you knocked out within 5 to 10 minutes. If that's an issue for you, Wanda. So.
And sometimes it's not that as simple as getting the negative thoughts out. It's like accepting negative thoughts, because we have, for every positive thought, there's 5 negative thoughts. That's how our brains work. So just accepting, letting them flow, seeing them, observing them, not getting attached to them. And music helps, calming music helps, like some of these instruments, like the Buddhist monk instrumentation, and the bells. Yeah. So anyway, who's our next person?
I love coffee. I love tea. I love Olivia from.
You have Olivia.
And this is what she asks of me. Trying to stay off coffee. But
where's Olivia from?
I just said East Hampton.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Please pay attention. There'll be a quiz at the end.
Yes, thank you.
All right. I'm trying to stay off of coffee, but lately I've been really tired and thinking a good morning cup of joe would kick me into gear. Is that a good idea, or do you have a better one, or perhaps a less bitter one?
Kick you into gear is the operative term here.
Kick it.
Do you want to be kicked into gear, or do you want to mold?
I don't know if she's making a clutch play or using a clutch. That'll kick you into gear if you don't ease up on that clutch.
You want to meld into the day or kick into the day?
She wants to be kicked into gear. So Olivia from East Hampton, a rather posh part of Long Island.
It's a very lovely place.
She wants to be kicked into the rear or kicked into gear to get her day going. I remember something, Morning Thunder was something that Celestial Seasonings had done that was a tea, and that stuff was just brutal. But it was an herbal tea, and it was very high in caffeine.
What was their dandelion? Oh, it was herbal with caffeine? What was the caffeine source?
I don't remember, but I remember there was a storming buffalo on it called Morning Thunder.
Well, it could have been dandelion root, which is, it's more of a liver detoxing or liver supportive kind of herb.
Well, what do we have for Olivia, though? That's the question.
So, I mean, is it the taste you want or the caffeine you want? It sounds like the caffeine
is
tired. Stay away from monster drinks. Stay away from those sugary caffeine.
There's a unicorn. There's a unicorn drink that Daniel Amen talked about on a TikTok recently. He said it had 300 milligrams of caffeine in that single energy drink. He said it'll just produce a horn right out of your head, and it was just it was not something that he recommended, and it had sucralose and other things like that. So you really don't want to be going for the energy drinks, as Monica said.
There is a reason that you're feeling sluggish and you're dependent on caffeine. There's a reason. It could be your adrenals are a little slowed down. I won't say
maybe you're not sleeping. Maybe you're not sleeping well.
You're not sleeping well, but maybe you're burned out, and the more coffee you have, the more you need. I have someone that I know. She will fall asleep. She actually gets energized drinking coffee, which is no, she doesn't energize. She
the other way relaxes. That used to be me.
Gets relaxed drinking coffee.
I used to drink coffee sometimes at 9 at night and just drift off easily.
Yeah, that is an indication that you have you're into adrenal burnout for sure at that stage, and you need the more you need, the more you know.
Well, that was 1995.
Meaning,
it was a long time ago.
And was the coffee different then, or you're not that person now?
I'm not that person now.
You're not that person now.
Stop
labeling. There are a lot of people that are that person still. So,
Marlo Thomas was that girl.
I would. So you have stopped drinking, Olivia. Is that right?
She's trying to stay off of coffee.
Yeah. So there is
there is no trying.
There is a kind of period of time where you're detoxing the caffeine out of your system, and you'll have the headaches and the detox headaches and that kind of thing. So if you've overcome that part, but maybe you just like the taste of it, that's a totally different story.
Could do decaf.
Just the taste. You could do decaf. And espresso is actually less caffeine than any other coffee. With
coffee ice cream.
Coffee ice cream. Well, there you have all the other stuff, though, that is not that beneficial. And who's going to eat ice cream for breakfast? I'm sure people do, but
I've
never had ice cream for breakfast.
I've done ice cream for breakfast. And in college, I used to do cold pizza for breakfast.
Well, cold pizza is accepted. I wasn't going to say accept. I'm not saying
cold ice cream is not. You need hot ice cream.
Well, no, cold ice cream is acceptable but not for breakfast.
Well.
You did say for breakfast, did you not?
Yeah, apparently I was doing it wrong.
Apparently. So Olivia, not Olivia.
It's not Sir Lawrence Olivier.
Lawrence was question number 2. Okay, so I mean, it's such a pervasive beverage in our culture, and
or switch to tea. Maybe it has nothing to do with coffee per se. Maybe it's the acids in the coffee that bother you, and a nice tea would be okay.
Well, it doesn't sound like anything's bothering you. It sounds like you're needing something to keep you
tired. She's tired.
Get some more sleep. Get some more sleep. And have a good breakfast in the morning. Sometimes exercising in the morning will kick you into gear as well.
Yeah, maybe you need a personal trainer who'll kick your butt.
Or a nice brisk walk in nature. That's also going to give you some meditative.
That was the calming recommendation for Wanda.
Yeah, and it can work for everyone. Everyone, yes. So if you have more on that question, Olivia, please let us know, because I'd like to explore this, because again, a lot of people have this issue. You're not the only one. So
just drop a comment here, or you can also make a little mention. You can actually, through several of these pages, you could just send us direct messages.
Yeah,
right?
mention.
Heinzel mention. I would mention the Heinzel mention.
I'm doing the puns just like you.
Yeah.
So do we have time for more, or are we wrapping it up and saving for next?
We have 2 questions left. I'm tempted to just save them. Chuck,
let's save these really great questions.
Chuck and Mary. A little ditty about Jack and Diane. A little.
This is Chuck and Mary. Chuck and Mary, please stay tuned next week when we will ask your questions.
Chuck from Philly and Mary from Eden Prairie. I like Mary from Eden Prairie. That's pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
That kind of rhymes. Eden Prairie, of course, is near in the Minneapolis area, and I've been there.
Is it near Mankato?
I don't know.
Mankato is south of Minneapolis.
Mankato is a mall?
No, Mankato is an actual town.
Oh, no. Maybe next time we'll get someone from Mankato.
All right. Manny from Mankato.
Well, we enjoy wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
Of course, we have a lot of people in the U.S. asking questions, but please, Canada, Mexico, everywhere in the world, please, we welcome your questions.
Yeah, where are you, Canadians? You are underrepresented except for one of your countrymen over here. You're it. Get your mom on the phone next time.
Yeah. she'll share how the 10 tips or 100 tips on how to
100 tips on how to live to be 100.
Yes, there you go. She's the expert.
You may have 99 problems, but she has 100 tips. All right. We'll see you next week. Oh, also, if you have any direct questions and you want a direct answer from our illustrious nutritionist Monika, you can reach her at Monika, Monika, at coachingforhealth.com.
Thank you.
She's the bomb. All right. We'll be back next week.
See you next week, everyone. Have a good one. Stay healthy.
Ciao for now.